Shalom, my people. This is a video attempting to give edification on the Sabbath and the fact that the moon determines not only just the feast days, but the Sabbath as well. Now, we've been led to believe that the moon cycle is only determining the feast days, when in actuality it determines everything. It determines time in general, it determines feast days, and it determines the Shabbat, which is also a feast day. But I'll dig into that later. But the scholars, they know that not only that the feast days are determined upon the moon cycle, but also the Sabbath as well. They know this information, but yet they regurgitate the lies and deception of the Sabbath being Friday sundown to Saturday sundown, or Saturday every week. Now, the scholars have produced encyclopedias telling us this information. And now I will read two encyclopedias that display this information that I'm telling you right now. Now, the first one comes from the Encyclopedia Biblica, and this Encyclopedia Biblica was created in 1899. And this is page 4180. It says the Hebrew Sabbathon was celebrated at intervals of 7 days, corresponding with changes in the moon's phases. And this other one is from the Universal Jewish Encyclopedia, page 410. It says the new moon is still, and the Sabbath originally was dependent upon the lunar cycle. Both date back to the nomadic period of Israel. Originally, the new moon was celebrated in the same way as the Sabbath. Gradually, it became less important, while the Sabbath became more and more a day of religion and humanity, of religious meditation and instruction, or peace and delight of the soul, and produced powerful and beneficent effects outside of Judaism. Now, even the Jewish people who uphold the Saturday Sabbath tell you that the Sabbath originally was dependent upon the lunar cycle. See, this shows that not only the Sabbath was originally dependent on the moon cycle, but it also shows that the scholars and the Jewish people, by them knowing this, and they still continue to uphold Saturday Sabbath, is for a reason. It's not just because it's the truth. It's because it's some type of deceptive way to keep us asleep. They know the truth. How come they tell us otherwise in the pulpits and in the synagogues? Now, I want to dig into the scriptures. First, I wanted to give you history, because that's less important. The most important thing is the scriptures and what the scriptures say. And everything that was said in the encyclopedias is in scripture. Now, let's look at the scriptures to see what the moon is appointed for. Okay, if you have your scriptures, we can go to Psalms 104:19. Psalms chapter 104, verse 19. Okay, it says, He appointed the moon for seasons. The sun knoweth his going down. So now we see that the Most High appointed the moon for seasons. Now the word seasons in the Hebrew is H4150, which is Moad or Moed. And that means appointed place, appointed time, meeting, appointed place, appointed time, general, sacred season, set feast, appointed season, appointed meeting, appointed place, appointed sign or signal, tent of meeting. Now the words that are used for Moad or Moed in the scriptures are congregation, feast, season, appointed, time, assembly, solemnity, solemn, days, sign, synagogues. So he appointed the moon for time, period. Appointed time, set seasons, set feasts, appointed seasons, appointed meetings. He set the moon to be appointed for time and feasts. So this proves that the moon determines time in general. Now, you may ask, what does this have to do with the Sabbath? Now, if you go to Leviticus chapter 23, you will find out. Now, let's go to Leviticus 23, chapter 23, verse 2. It says, "Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them concerning the feasts of Yahuwah, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations. Even these are my feasts." Now, the very first verse says, 6 days shall work be done, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of rest and holy convocation. Ye shall do no work therein. It is the Sabbath of Yahuwah in all your dwellings. Now, that word in verse 2, feast, is again H4 150, which is Moad, which the moon is appointed for. Now, the first Moad or the first Moadim, or one of the first Moadim, is the Sabbath, the seventh day Sabbath of rest, which is in verse 3. So by this alone, this should be enough concrete proof to show you that the Sabbath is determined by the moon, and not only just the feast. And I hope this gives enough edification for you guys to acknowledge the truth of how to observe the Sabbath and the feast days, and how to keep time in general. It's depending on the lunar cycle. And with all that said, I say shalom alaikum, mishpachah, peace unto you, family, and may Yahuwah bless and keep you. Shalom.